This is a flux density problem. So I'm going to compare the flux and the flux density of two magnetic cores. So here's a like a cutout of these magnetic cores. It's the cross-sectional area of two magnets, two bar magnets. Cross-sectional area of the first bar magnet, um, it it has these dots in it, and each one of these dots is representing 10 to it is a microweber. Okay, each dot represents 1 microweber, and 1 microweber is um, one. Uh, it's 100 webers, right? Each dot is 100. Um, 100 lines of flux. Each dot is 100 lines of flux. So I'm going to just highlight this as I go through because I've already put the solution here. And the textbook has some solutions that I don't love. So I've done it myself. And here we have each dot is 1 microweber. We know that by definition. If we don't know that, then we have a problem. So it's 100 lines of flux, and that's a microweber. So each dot. Now, how many dots are in the first one versus how many dots are in the second one? I don't know offhand. It looks to me like it kind of looks about the same to me, but and then the second one has a larger cross-sectional area. So I would say that the second one has around the same amount of flux in a larger area, so it's less dense. So I would say that the first one has more flux density and the second one has less flux density. And of course, I'm trying to not look at my solutions that say that there's less flux in the first one. It looks about the same to me. I guess I counted them. So, but each of those dots represents 100 lines of flux per dot. We are given this, okay? We are given this. We know this. And we know from our theory, from our lectures, that one 100 lines of flux is 10 to the 8. Is 1 Weber. And 1 Weber is 10 to the 8 lines of flux. So we know that. So that means um, that I'm just reviewing here that each one of these dots, that means that each dot is 1 microweber. Okay, which I told you here. It says it here in the question, but I'm just reviewing there. You have to know that before you start this question. Okay, so the question is compute the flux and the flux density. Well, I can easily compute the flux. I can easily compute the flux by counting the dots. So here's where I'm computing the flux of the first one. I'm computing the flux of the second one. But what I want you to know, what I want you to pay attention to is how you use units. Because if you're taking this course on magnetism, the concepts are simple. Using the math is difficult. So you have to follow really good units. It's like no other course. It's a practical physics course, engineering course. You are going to be your own best friend if you use units properly. So let's do this flux. The flux on picture A is 49 dots. I counted them. There's 49. And for each dot, for every one dot, I'm making a ratio here. For every one dot, there are 10 to the negative 6 Webers. For every one dot, there's 10 to the negative 6 Webers. That's how I'm using my units. I'm putting my units as a fraction, Weber per dot. I want dots in the denominator. I want Webers in the numerator. That lets me go and cross out dots to be left with Webers. So there are 49 times 10 to the 6 Webers because I multiplied 49 times 10 to the 6. 49 times 10 to the 6 unit that's left over is Weber. So that's how many flux lines there are. But that's such a big number, times 10 to the negative 6, sorry. That's such a small number, such a small number that um, I'm going to convert that to microwebers. And I can actually show how to convert that to microwebers as well. if I erase this, the proper conversion here, the proper conversion of microvebers, bear with me here, bear with me, bear with me, sorry about this. Did I just erase the whole thing? I did. Bear with me, trying to get into drawing mode here. All I wanted to do is get rid of that arrow. Get away. There we go. Sorry about that. So I wanted to show you how to go from Weber to micro Weber here. So what I would do is I have this nice square bracket of Weber. I want to get rid of Weber. So I want to put it in the denominator. And I want to replace it with micro Weber. And when I replace it with micro Weber, so here we go. Now I can cross out Weber and micro Weber. So that'll get me the units I want. But all I have to do is put in the scalar quantities there. In um, one in 1 microweber up here in one microweber, I've got 10 to the negative 6 Webers, 10 to the negative 6. So now I have 10 to the negative 6 on the numerator and the denominator, and I have to multiply through numerator, multiply through denominator, divide those, and I got 49 because the 10 to the 6's happen to cross out as well. But that's how you do proper units. You write the units in square brackets as a fraction, and then you put in the scalar of the associated fraction. So let's look at this second one. I had 72 dots. But I don't want dots. I want Webers. So I know I want Webers in the numerator. So I put dots in the denominator, Webers and dots. So I can cross out Webers and dots. So I just have to add this ratio of how many dots and Webers relate so that I can do the math of the units I want. You see how I did the units first and then I do the math? Well, then I know in each one dot, there's 10 to the negative 6 Webers. So now I go 72 times 10 to the negative 6 over 1 times 1. 72 times 10 to the negative 6 over 1 times 1. Now, I don't want that Weber there. I want to cross that out with another Weber in the denominator here. And so per Weber, I want microweber, and per 1 microweber, I have 10 to the negative 9 Webers. And so now I can do that math. 72 times 10 to the negative 6 divided by 1 times 10 to the negative 9, and I get 72 microwebers. Now, you might do that in your head. You might write that down without doing your units, but I am warning you that in this course, put your units first, know what your units are so that you know the scale of the scientific notation to be working with so that you're crossing out your exponents properly, or else you'll get the wrong answer by order of magnitude of a massive amount. So that's question A. It says, how many lines of flux are there? Turns out there's 49 in here and there's 72 in here. I counted them, I converted units. Okay, and now I'm going to do flux density. Well, flux density, Tesla came along and said, hey, Weber, normalize that. Divide it by meters squared, because like which one is more dense? Let's take a little meter squared out of there. Let's take a little meter squared out of there. Okay, but of course these are in centimeters to begin with, so obviously that was not to scale. So let's do flux density. If I were to calculate flux density, I would start with my formula, which is number of flux lines per cross-sectional area. I would remember the base SI units of those, Weber per meter squared. If I want to, I can put Tesla in there. Oh, thank you. How did I mute myself? Okay. So I am going to start with my formula. My formula is flux density equals Weber per meter squared. We know Tesla came along and said that and wanted to put a Tesla unit on it, but I'm going to keep that Weber per meter squared. I know flux because I just calculated it here. So it's 49 microvebers. Oh, I'm going to, instead of using microvebers, I'm going to use the base SI unit, which is Weber. So I went up a step here and I'm using the 49 times 10 to the negative 6 Webers because I like base SI units. So there we go. And then for meters squared, I'm going to calculate the whole meter squared. So because that's where 49 of these dots are sitting, they're sitting in the entire space. So I'm going to do that as 2.5 times 2.5, but those are centimeters. I actually did this one in my head. I converted the centimeters to meters. So I would say here, little star, as you're studying, make sure that you're in base SI units. Base SI units is Weber and meters. So I like to convert all of these questions to meters, not centimeters. But these questions are usually dealing with very small devices or small magnets, so they're usually given to you in centimeters. So meters are your friends, base SI units are your friends. Convert them to meters. So here we go. This square then is actually this size. It's 6.25 times 10 to the negative 4 meters. Make sure you know how to do that conversion. You're multiplying two decimals together. You're multiplying meter times meter, you get meter squared. And this is my count of number of flux lines that were in there. I divide through those numbers. It's so important that the exponents of negative 6 and negative 4 are handled properly. And if you do this, you end up with 78.4 times 10 to the negative 3. Now, you might have to put that in your calculator just to verify that you know how to get from here to here, because there are a few steps there. And why did I express it as 78.4 instead of expressing it as um, a decimal? I expressed it as this because I moved the decimal place and therefore moved this exponent so that this is a proper um, scientific notation number. So you should choose your scientific notation exponents so that you have one or two values, like you're in the ones or you're in the tens or you're in the hundredths, or the tens. And you get to choose this exponent based on having basically a good number there. So 78 is a good number, 78.4. I'm using significant digits because this is a measured value. My count really should have been expressed as 49.0 in order to use appropriate significant digits. So you see, this is a very easy question where I'm counting up a bunch of dots and I'm dividing them by the area, but there's so many eccentricities inside the math of these problems. I mean, you could get messed up just going from this line to this line if you're not using your scientific notation properly. So this is the appropriate way to express this in scientific notation in the order of magnitude of hundredths. 78.4 times 10 to the negative 3 Weber per meter squared. Remember that Weber per meter squared is what a Tesla is. So I can then express that as Teslas. Okay. Now, if I want to express that in the tenths of scientific notation, I like doing that too. So you would move that decimal. And so I'm just illustrating to you that you would move the decimal over 1. So now you're not at negative 3, but you're at negative 2 in scientific notation here. 7.84 times 10 to the negative 2 Teslas of flux density, or I like to say 7.84 times 10 to the negative 2 Webers that I've counted in each meter squared of this. So much, so many details going on in this problem. So many details. Let's do this other one a little bit quicker, skipping a couple of steps. B is this one. I counted that there are 72 dots, 72 100 lines of fluxes. So there are 72 times 10 to the negative 6 Webers. Okay, that's what I calculated here, and I did the units for those. 72 times 10 to the negative 6 from above. Part A. I divide that by cross-sectional area to get the density. The length and width are 2.5 centimeters and something else. 5.0 centimeters. I converted those to meters and I stuck this in as meters squared. Make sure that you use base SI meters. In all of magnetism, use meters, base SI. Divide by that meters squared and make sure that you can go and calculate this and get the right number of the right scientific notation for this. Don't express this as a decimal form. Express it in proper scientific notation, which has like in the tens. So 5.76 times 10 to the negative 2 is a nice way to express this. Tesla, if you want to say Tesla, I like to be stubborn and say 5.76 times 10 to the negative 2 Webers of flux I can count in that meter squared. That's what I would like to say. So let's look at this then. I have more lines of flux on the second one than I have on the first one. But the first one is more flux dense than the second one is. So the first one is a better magnet. It's more magnetized than the second one is. The first one is more magnetized than the second one. So this has been an illustration of how complicated it is to solve all magnetic circuit problems. This is the easiest magnetic circuit problem possible. Just counting lines, dividing by cross-sectional area, but there are so many ways to mess up our math because of scientific notation and unit conversions. Scientific notation and unit conversions.